Hello everyone, it's Canadian Futures Trader here. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the video. If you have not already, be sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications, get notified every time I put out a brand new video. Today, one of my patented presentations, I know you all love them, I'm going to be going over the reasons why you should try out for a funded futures trading program. As told by a funded trader, I'm funded by a few of the various programs. As always, you can visit my website. I started this actually to document my journey through the funded trader evaluation programs. You see the address there. There's also a link down below. So I wanted to go through my background just briefly, just to kind of paint the picture of where I'm coming from, and again, my background with the funded trader evaluation companies. So I come from a very corporate background. I worked my way up through the ranks, got myself up to the executive level, decided I really didn't like being in the corporate life after several years. I then left. I went into management consulting, did that for several years. I am still involved in that somewhat, but definitely is not my primary focus. I had a long-term interest in trading, and I'm talking since back in college. Not necessarily futures. I was more interested in just traditional stock trading and options trading. So at some point, early 2020, I really said, you know what? I really want to dive into this trading thing. I really want to start learning about it. Now is the time. I am not a fan of, paid gurus, paying for courses, paying thousands of dollars for information you can find for free if you're a little bit resourceful. So I just scoured YouTube, taught myself over several months, learned all kind of the basics of trading, technical analysis, fundamentals, the different types of charts, all those things that you learn at first. Equities just didn't really appeal to me. So somewhere in my journey through learning on YouTube, I stumbled across somewhere that talked about the funded futures programs. And specifically, I think the person was trading crude oil, and kind of a light bulb came on. I said, you know what? That really appeals to me. I definitely have an interest in the oil industry in general. Why not look into trading crude oil futures? So here's what I pictured. I get really excited when I find something new that I'm interested in. That's me on the left, the beaver, trading. I pictured lots of screens, lots of charts. Let the world know that, hey, I'm a professional crude oil trader. I did not buy this t-shirt, luckily. So from there, I went on to start my website, CanadianFuturesTrader.ca. Actually, there's a bit of a gap there where I skipped. I tried out for a few different firms. I got funded. I blew a few funded accounts. I got smarter about it. Then went on to pass a few of them. That's about the time frame I started this website, because I found there was a big lack of information out there about these programs. Just what is it actually like from somebody going through them, unbiased. And based on my experience through 2020, I really thought it was a great opportunity, and I felt like people didn't really understand what that opportunity was. So that's what I wanted to go through in this video. So this is a screenshot from my website. Feel free to, as well, side note, I put up whatever current promotions are available with the various trader evaluation companies. So it's a good place I try to stay on top of it every single day. Good resource is what I'm trying to be for people. Reasons to try out, I have 4 of them. Number 1, it's low cost. So when I was first, and a lot of this is just in reference to me, but I think I'm a good representative of a potential futures trader. I went in not knowing a lot. I knew what I knew from watching YouTube videos about, charting and technical analysis and whatnot, but to actually give it a try, the funded trader evaluation companies were a nice low-cost way to really give it a try and see if I wanted to get further down this rabbit hole. You can give it a try. There's a big potential reward if you're good at it. You obviously get a funded account. It doesn't cost that much. Spend anywhere, and on the next screen I show an example. You can spend anywhere from less than $100 to a few $100s, and you have nothing more at risk. You're not putting thousands of dollars of your own money in a trading account and potentially putting it at risk. You are limited to whatever you spend up front and whatever choices you make along the way. So it's also an opportunity to learn from your mistakes and try out again with nothing held against you. So let's say you take it, you don't do that well your first time through, you blow your evaluation account. It's no big deal. If you want to reset it and try again, you can, and it's not going to be held against you. So say you pass the second time through. They're not going to come back and say, oh, well, you didn't do very good that first time, though. It's like, no, if you actually pass and meet all the criteria, you will get a funded account. So here's just an example when I talk about the price. So this is from Earn to Trade. You see the prices down here at the bottom. So anywhere from $90 up to $210. Now this is based on July 2021. They're actually running a promo right now for 40% off. So there's always deals going on, and that's where I like to direct people to my website because that's where I keep the latest promotions and deals updated. So I'm currently doing the 150K Gauntlet Mini is their branding for the funded trader evaluation programs. $210. Now that's based on the current promotion, and you do have to trade 15 trading days, but you're able to do that in under a month. A pretty low cost way to give things a try. If you were to sign up, you take a program, you decide, you know what, I really don't like this futures trading thing, you quit, you just cancel, and you have no more obligation. But if you really do like it and you want to pursue it, you've entered the market for a relatively low cost. So reason number 2 is you can learn while you're trading. So I said up front, the way I initially learned was just scouring YouTube. Now it definitely is, a bit of work, and you're going to get kind of mismatched information, if you will. You might find one person who has one teaching style and one who has a different teaching style, but that worked for me up front. Some of the companies, and again, I'm using Earn to Trade as an example, right now, they actually have a ton of educational content. So this is a screenshot from my dashboard. You kind of see on the left here, there's a lot of stuff on here, but lessons, guides, and webinars, there's over like 130 hours worth of educational content at Earn to Trade. They are probably the primary one that focuses on educational materials as well. So if you are early in your futures trading career, you're really learning as you go, much like how I was. Again, I'm using a lot of myself as an example. You get a lot of educational content here that you won't necessarily get otherwise. And I will say the stuff they provide is really high quality, well organized, so you can really pick and choose the lessons you want to learn. Okay, so reasons 3 and reasons 4, we're getting even further into some of the great reasons why, and this is a big one, is leverage. So margins can be very prohibitive for people. So really quick margins 101 lesson for you if you have no idea what I'm talking about. If you have your own brokerage account at XYZ Brokerage, whenever you trade a product, you put up a certain amount of capital as margin for that product. So let's say I wanted to trade 3 lots of the Ultra Bond. Well, they're going to have a specified amount. That is the margin requirement, and I'm going to have that in my account to basically act as collateral, if you want to think of it that way. And that money won't be available for trading. And I actually have an example with numbers on the next slide, so I'll just leave it at that for now. But margins tend to be fairly high. They're not $20 or anything like that. They're fairly larger numbers. So it depends on the product you trade and who your brokerage is. So margins do vary quite a bit. Like I said, you're not going to get somewhere that just gives you, $20 margins on everything, but there can be a big discrepancy. With a prop firm though, you have a predefined amount of contracts. You don't have to worry about the margin. So I use the 150K account as an example. I'm just going to go back really quick. You see here, it says up to 15 contracts. So at full tilt, once you've gotten to a certain profit level, I'd be able to trade up to 15 contracts. I don't have to worry about what is the margin on those specific products or anything like that. It's just very simple. It's 15 contracts when I reach certain goals. So again, and this kind of goes with ease of trying out, but you pay the fee, you have instant access to contracts. I think it starts out with 4 contracts on the 150K. I'm not having to put up thousands of dollars in my own trading account and set that up. I just sign up, get set up, and the same day I'm trading away. And then likewise, if you pass the evaluation and you get funded, you're going to also have access to those same contracts. So trade for 2 to 3 weeks, pass, get funded, and you're off and running trading multiple contracts. So here's an example just to really drive that home if you're not as familiar with margins. So some of them can be excessively high. So I'm using Interactive Brokers as an example. I am in Canada. There's not a lot of options when it comes to futures trading companies, and I actually will talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. Here are the margins on some of the products. I pulled these from Interactive Brokers website just yesterday. The margin on the Ultra Bond, which is what I typically trade, is, let's call it $15,000. ES, which I know a lot of people trade, at NQ as well, $13,000 essentially, and $17,500. Using Ultra Bond as an example, since that's what I trade, I typically trade 3 or 4 contracts of the Ultra Bond. if I traded 4 contracts of the Ultra Bond in my own personal account, I would need to have $60,000 in there just for margins. That doesn't even include having additional funds for a buffer in case your trade is a loser. Compare that with signing up with someone like Earn to Trade, pay $210, have access to 4 contracts immediately, even with the scaling plan, versus having to put $60,000. Like, there's just a huge kind of discrepancy between the two. So for someone wanting to try out futures trading, it is very prohibitive to just go open your own account and give it a try. You're going to have to put up a ton of capital to do so. Something like a trader evaluation firm, you don't have to go down that road. So I think, if anything, like, this one reason alone is a good reason why I think they're a great opportunity for people. I have it right here on the screen. Earn to Trade 150K accounts. So you start off with 4 contracts, and then as you make profit, you scale up to the 15. I have videos about the progression ladder and scaling plans if you want to learn more about that. But nonetheless, at a minimum, I'm trading 4 contracts. Put $60,000 in an account, or pay $210, try to pass in 15 days, and have access to 4 contracts through someone like Earn to Trade. So reason number 4 kind of spins off of that. Not so much in the United States, but outside the United States. I mentioned I'm in Canada. It can be very difficult to open a futures brokerage account. Now, I mentioned in Canada. I'm going to assume in other countries it's not quite as easy and free-flowing as the United States as well. The requirements to be approved and the time it takes are fairly prohibitive in and of themselves. I mean, add on top of that, I didn't even write it there, but the amount, like, minimum amounts you have to fund, go back to that previous slide, the margins then that you're going to, like, it would make no sense to open a futures brokerage account in Canada and only put $2,000 in, because you're not going to be able to trade anything. You need at least $15,000 just to cover a one lot. So compare that to the prop firms. It's quick setup and passing. Your contract size is predetermined. Few $100s, yeah, I have access to 3 or more contracts. I'm speaking, of course, of the larger accounts, but even the lower, like the cheapest account with Earn to Trade, I think you get 2 contracts out of the gate. Not too bad. So I'm just speculating that other countries around the world, it's kind of a similar situation where there are a lot of obstacles to just giving futures trading a try with capital. And I will mention the futures, all these evaluation companies, you can be outside the United States. Like, I'm obviously in Canada. They accept people from around the world. There's a few limitations, but there's not too many. You can always check with them and make sure your country is one of the ones that they accept. But I think there's very few exceptions. I think most people are allowed to trade with them. And then you, again, kind of deviating a little bit from this, but the way it works is you're essentially, once you pass and you're funded, you're trading their capital. So you're essentially a contractor to them. So you aren't setting up a brokerage account in your own name. You're trading through the funding partner, trading their capital, and then you get to share in the profits from that, usually at an 80-20 split. So summary, I wanted to keep this short and sweet. There's other reasons as well, but I think those few reasons really highlight the benefits for most people. It's low cost to try out. Spend, anywhere from like under $100 to a few $100s, give it a try. Or even if you already know that futures trading is the road that you want to go down, it's a low cost alternative to setting up your own account. I didn't include it in here, but so I actually personally, I have my own brokerage account and I have funded trader accounts. It's a little bit more stressful trading your own money. I have to admit that. So you can learn during the process. You're either going to learn from your mistakes and or you're going to learn from educational content that's available. The leverage, big reason there. I think that's probably the prime. If I had to pick one of the reasons, the leverage is by far the clear winner on why it's a good option. Spend a few $100s, potentially get access to, in time, in my case, up to 15 contracts. Imagine, I don't even want to break out the calculator, 15 contracts at the Interactive Brokers margin rates of 15 grand a contract. It's not going to be pretty. It's over $200,000 I would have to put up just in margins to trade that size. Ease of having an account. It's time savings. I didn't go too much into that, but you sign up with someone like Earn to Trade, you're going to have an account within a day. Once you get funded, same thing. It maybe takes a week to get your funded account, but it's not a big deal. You sign up with a brokerage, you're looking at a couple weeks just to get your account set up. The geographic restrictions, like I said, in Canada, there's really only a handful of futures brokerages, and none of them are looked on as extraordinarily favorable, I would say. There's either super high margins, super high commissions, built barriers to entry, like it's not pretty. So Funded trader evaluation programs are a good way to get involved in futures trading without having to deal with the brokerage side. And a bonus reason, if anything, it's fun and it's challenging. That's what my life is all about. I like to challenge myself. I like to grow. And it's fun. If you enjoy trading, it's a great way to get into trading, trying out the futures markets. That basically sums it up, guys. My website, link down below. As well, I participate in the Earn to Trade Discord. I've kind of adopted it as my home. So if you want to find me on there, there's plenty of helpful people on there. And it's open to anyone. You don't have to be with Earn to Trade, by the way. Any traders welcome there. Come in, participate, share trading stories, ask questions, whatever you want. My email address is here. It's also on my website if you want to go there. As well, all my social media, rather than list them out here, just go to my website, look at the contact page. All the stuff is on there for you. So speaking of, here's my site. Here's the contact page. You can scroll down. There's all the social media. You can fill in the form and send me an email or just send it through my email address. Happy to answer your questions. And I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.